Are you ready to watch Answer the Socks?
Hot dang! One size fits all.
This is the best set you can get this movie. The one that includes socks.
Which you've never taken out of one.
No, I've never. I don't know.
You'll never wear them.
It's like, if I'm gonna get a Blu-ray of Answer the Call, which I do have more than one of anyway, but it's like, I need the socks collection.
Answer the song.
It's something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
A bunch of people don't even remember that they tacked Answer the Call on this after the fact. It just came out as Ghostbusters, of course, first. Ghostbusters 2016, which was annoying. I'm glad they started calling it Answer the Call. I wish they had done that in the first place. It's fine for it to have a subtitle to differentiate it from the original movie.
If there's a paranormal problem, we're the ones to answer the call.
Well, because this was going to be the big reboot. This is the new Ghostbusters.
The new Ghostbusters.
It don't need no subtitle. It's the first of many.
Wow. You guys gotta try this.
It's weird, like, there was no controversy with this movie.
And everyone loved it.
Are you the Ghostbusters?
Yes, we're the Ghostbusters.
You've come home.
You are now watching Mad TV.
But we're about to take it down a peg. It's about time
we're gonna-
someone criticized Answer the Call.
I shrieked when I saw it.
Well, we're revisiting it after 8 years. We've given it time to digest. We watched the extended cut so we could get every bit of the damn rambling.
The cat is sort of already kind of out of the bag.
I think what they're saying is the cat is
Yeah, like
out of the
Patrick
bag.
Swayze.
They want us
That's
to
it. Then we were all
cat back.
dancing at a summer camp in the Catskills, and then we sat down, and he was behind me, and we made a face.
The thing is, this is
You know what the really sad thing about this is? It's so hard to criticize this movie because so much of the criticism was
Came from
rooted-
nothing.
Yeah, it was rooted in bad faith. You know, bad faith actors that like, oh, I don't like it because it's woke or because it's got women or whatever you want to say, when there's like legit reasons to criticize it.
Okay, so I don't know if it was a race thing or a lady thing, but I'm mad as hell.
And it was really sad for me too, because I saw this in theaters like you, and I kind of enjoyed it at the time.
This auditorium is Art Deco, you idiots!
I think I enjoyed it more when I saw it in the theater too than I have revisiting
Yeah,
it.
watching it now, I was really annoyed, and it was kind of a shame because I didn't want to go into it being like, oh, this is annoying, but all the things I found annoying before were amplified, and I'm like, why is everyone so mean in this? That was the thing that really got me. Like, everyone was mean.
Would you try being useful for once? Maybe go find us a sledgehammer.
Ma'am, are you afraid to go to a party and have fun in life?
Would you stop, please?
Electro voice phenomenon. There's never been one substantiated.
Oh, there hasn't?
A few months ago, we spent 8 nights at the Chelsea Hotel.
Is everything a joke to you guys?
Just your mama.
I think it might be a ghost. Oh, no, it's not. It's just a bird. Bye. There's the door.
The Ghost Jumpers make contact with the ghost of Bigfoot.
These phonies. It's because of stuff like this that makes it impossible for us to do our real work.
The beginning of the movie is kind of Kristen Wiig having to deal with idiots when Melissa McCarthy and Kate McKinnon.
Yeah.
Their characters are just jerks.
There is a ghost inside that thermos? Well, I would love to see that. I really would.
Shoot, you know what? You're not gonna get that treat today.
Awesome! I don't think they stop being jerks.
No,
It's
they
weird
don't
to, like,
really.
introduce characters with no redeeming qualities and then keep them that way, but they kind of, that's how it went.
Yeah.
It was just a shame, because I remember from the trailers, Kate McKinnon looked badass. I was like, she's
Looking
going to
her
be
little
my
neutrino
favorite.
wand.
Yeah, she's good. She looks so cool. And then I watched this movie, and I'm like, she doesn't turn it off, does she? She just never shuts up. Puts people in danger all the time.
Why am I operating the untested nuclear laser?
You have the longest arms. This is just a little bit of grounding so you don't die immediately. Do you know your iron level?
It's fine.
You can't do that without it injecting a little bit. They have 2 seconds of sincerity with this character.
It really is. It is about that. When they're talking about Rowan's big plot to open a portal or whatever that might end the world, she's concerned for about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Holtzman, this is serious.
And I agree. We all agree.
If you had a little bit more sincerity with her character in moments, it would really help it, because there's a basis for a fun character there.
Yeah.
It's just she acts so blasé about things. I don't care. I wish there was a little bit at the wonder of the discovery of a ghost besides her eating Pringles and doing the slogan.
Class 4 operation. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
How can you be eating right now?
Want your pop?
I feel that really sets the tone for the whole movie at that point. You're like, well, they don't care about ghosts. Why should I?
I mean, if every character didn't do this, it would help. Because it's like all of them do it. Melissa McCarthy especially seems like the same character, just less smart because she's not supposed to be the gadget person. But it's about the same level of like give no shit bullying through most of the movie, which is...
Even though she creates some things and then apparently doesn't know how they work, because, like, I mean, maybe Holtzman mostly made the PK meter, but I thought she was involved, and then it spins a lot. She's like, I didn't even know it could do that.
I didn't even know it did that.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
I think that's part of, and I would love to actually know what the script for this said versus what was on screen. I feel like that's another one of many, 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 many improvised bits that they put in and just didn't cut.
Books can't fly, and neither can babies, so.
You don't know. I'll tell you what, if I had a human baby that could fly, I wouldn't be telling the press about it. If I had a flying baby, I'd zip this.
Then we were all dancing at a summer camp in the Catskills, and then we sat down, and he was behind me, and we made a vase.
Oh, you're combining the two.
I combined.
Yeah.
This was during the heyday of Improvarama comedies, where they
Boy,
just
is
let
it
them
ever.
go on and on and on, and then they just keep the rambling in.
I got a tub of soup, and I got one split wonton. Look at that, just floating there. I'm sorry you're having a soup crisis right now. There's not even any meat in there. That's just a carrot. Abby, please. Yes. Abby, I have one wonton.
And granted, it's worse in the extended cut, but what we got in the original cut was still like that, where it was like, maybe a line is funny, but they keep letting it go on and on and on until it's not funny anymore.
Some of those things could work if it wasn't in the movie all the time.
Yeah.
Where you have that kind of like, oh, well, I didn't know that's where we're going, kind of like trail off. You don't know where you're going with
You can
that.
use that
That
as
can
like
be a funny scene, but if it's in the whole movie, it gets tiring.
In comedy in general, if you don't have anything to make it funny against, then it's not funny. They have a scene where they're using the proton packs, and then Melissa McCarthy starts flying around, and then nobody acts like this is very serious, and then everyone just keeps talking. Don't have a moment to get the absurdity of that. Like, it would be funny if they were serious, and then that happened, and they're trying to get her down, and for them, this is serious, but it is very funny that she's flying around. But if no one shuts up, you don't get to a punchline there. It's just rambling until the scene ends.
What they're saying is the cat is out of the bag. They want us to put the cat back inside the bag. Well, I know that's what they're saying, but I'm saying the cat's already out, so it's hard to get the cat back. It's impossible.
But hey, how about them cameos from all the people you love?
I think, the fact we've got follow-ups to the original timeline now, it makes it less annoying as it did back then, because, you wanted Bill Murray to finally agree to doing a Ghostbusters movie for way too long, and then when he does it, it's this stupid skeptic character that's not thanking me.
I think that's why he agreed to do it, because he...
Yeah, but that's not what anyone wanted to see, except maybe Bill Murray, but no one else gave a shit.
I don't think he was bad in Afterlife or Frozen Empire, but I do feel like he put more gusto into this, I feel like
I don't know. I feel like he was acting when they look at the Egon Ghost in Afterlife.
Yeah, I don't think he was half-assing it. I do feel like he was perhaps more passionate about the answer to the call roll, though. Let's be honest.
He just wanted to get killed. And he's like, I finally got killed in a Ghostbusters movie, but it wasn't Peter Venkman.
I was saying this while we were watching it. I feel like if all of the people who do cameos in this movie from the original Ghostbusters movies, and this includes the Harold Ramis statue they show for 2 seconds.
What a great thing. A bust of Harold Ramis that you really don't get until you see other things telling you it's a bust of Harold Ramis.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
Oh, that's Harold Ramis,
I didn't see it until later. If they included all of these people as these characters, and they were the main characters of this movie, they weren't playing the characters from from the original Ghostbusters, but it was like a cabbie, asshole skeptic, a guy who drives a hearse or whatever, the mortuary guy. He's the driver once again.
Yeah, hotel secretary.
Yeah, hotel secretary. If you had all of them playing those characters, you might have a funnier movie. But then again, we only got them for 2 seconds. That includes Sigourney Weaver's character. It probably would have been funnier if she was doing the same character but less annoying.
All someone has to do is sneeze too hard and everyone in this building is going to disintegrate.
But I don't know. I mean, they didn't have enough time to be like, they really annoyed me. I think they were highlights of this movie. Even Slimer with Girl Slimer was a little more entertaining.
They're like Annie Potts' cameo where she's got the pointed glasses. I'm surprised they got away with that, considering how scary. Yeah.
All the children watching her. I do want to talk about some of the merits of this movie because I feel like I have less to talk about. Yeah, I was going to say that because it's so saturated and it's so pleasing to look at despite the fact it's annoying to listen to. I like the design of the ghosts. I think they were fun. I liked the effects that they had going for it, and like you could see through most of the movie it wasn't dark and dreary looking, which so many movies look like now. Even the newer Ghostbusters movies, like they could use a little more color.
It was very dark in places.
Yeah.
I suppose that goes with the darker tone of that story, but still didn't need to be as, lighting dark as it was at points.
And I think the newer movies also overcompensated because of this movie in trying to be so overly reverential of the franchise, like it's this holy thing on a pedestal. It
definitely caused an effect.
Yeah, which I think is some of the negatives of it, because it's good that they want to tell the story and be respectful about it, but it just goes too far sometimes in the direction of just like it's a franchise about itself rather than what the story they're telling. And this one, it felt the opposite, like they didn't really care about Ghostbusters that much.
No, I think part of that's down to the director, Paul Feig. I think he's just the wrong choice. He gets way too much shit for this movie.
Yeah.
He's tired of it. Sure, you don't need to complain directly at him. I don't think he should have been put in the position in the first place. I think they should have gotten someone who gives more of a shit about this franchise to direct this movie.
Yeah, well, it was his style of comedy, which can work in a straight comedy movie, but it forgot about the horror element of this. And occasionally there's a glimpse of something that could have been something.
The opening scene
was pretty good.
It's one of the scenes in the movie that feels like it's not in a complete farce world.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it feels like they're trying to set a tone.
Beating up the guy from The Office is pretty good.
In the last few seasons of The Office.
It's said that in this very room, P.T. Barnum first had the idea to enslave elephants.
I feel like Leslie Jones was one of the few ones who understood the assignment because she was the funniest to me, and I do remember thinking that in the theater too. Because,
I think her character is pretty well balanced.
Yeah.
I wish we still had this presentation.
I kind of wish I could have seen it, man.
You might just get your wish,
No
Patty.
way.
Damn, I wish I hadn't wished that.
Because she had serious moments and she had funny moments, but she knew when to turn it off, like when something scary was happening.
Okay, yep. Room full of nightmares. Not going in there.
And then when she reacted in an appropriate way, say scared of it, it would be funny rather than just eating a Pringle or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, because you're taking the piss out of the whole concept of the movie with the Pringle bit. That's why it annoys me so much. You need to care a little bit about the ghost to make the audience care.
Yeah, well, if she wasn't doing it the whole time, one scene where maybe she was inappropriately eating Pringles.
Sure, but that has to be after the first time she sees one in person.
That's true. I don't really, it's hard to get a gauge on that character, and I feel like maybe part of that's Kate McKinnon's humor, because rarely have I seen her in something where she turns it off for a moment,
I feel like she's such a non-character at times because she's only there to be goofy. I forget she's a character. She kind of just blends in. Like
her job is to pop in.
Yeah, she does the tech stuff and then do a funny, and then go back into the background. Because, it's all Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones, and Melissa McCarthy actually being characters a lot of the time.
Melissa McCarthy, it bordered on not being a character.
She's not very good, but she's still driving parts of this plot where Kate McKinnon is not.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like Melissa McCarthy and Kate McKinnon, because they had so many scenes together and they're both seasoned comedians, she was yes-anding her a lot, and it became sort of the same character where they were both rambling and not give a shit.
She's a brilliant engineer and very loyal. She would not abandon you.
I get it. disgusting.
Is it more or less disgusting if I tell you it came from the front?
I get it.
You think they got genitals in there, or is it more of a Ken doll situation?
I'm thinking a Ken doll situation. It's smooth.
I get it.
And when she had more scenes solo, I feel like she stood out a little more.
I've decided to become a Ghostbuster.
I don't have time to try to explain why that's not going to happen.
She was still kind of annoying, but not as annoying as Kate McKinnon's character got, which, again, real bummeroony, because I didn't want to not like her.
I wanted to like this movie more than I did in general, just because people were such dicks about it for, for no reason.
It wasn't bad because it had women in it.
No.
It wasn't bad because it was woke.
And it's
or
always
whatever.
on the cusp of some things. Like, I can see if this had been reworked a little bit, there's a good movie that could be, mined out of this.
Yeah.
But again, I think one of the big things that turned a lot of people off too is the fact it was a reboot, and it really didn't need to be, because Ghostbusters is the easiest thing in the world to do a different team in a different location with. If this had been a team of 4 women starting Ghostbusters up in a different city, I think it really could have been...
It probably would have been annoying if it was the same tone.
If it was the same tone, yeah, you have to work out some other things, but that would have helped a lot right from the get-go.
I feel like people have said they used them in the comics and they were less annoying, because there's a structure there that you can use. It's not
they do the
inherently
Ghostbusters multiverse thing, so they can have the teams combine.
Yeah. I feel like you could have used every single thing that you had in this movie, but just edited it and wrote it slightly differently, and it would have worked.
Because otherwise, there'd be mass hysteria. We don't want mass hysteria either.
I get it.
Mass hysteria!
Especially the editing. I feel like you could do a fan edit of this movie that works better if you just chop out the scenes that just keep going and don't stop.
You know what?
A little help, please.
Don't.
I get it.
There's still a lot of problems with it, but I feel like that is a big chunk of it for me, is just a scene could work and then it just doesn't end. And it's 2 hours in the theatrical cut. The extended cut adds 13 minutes to it. It's all unnecessary.
13 minutes of more rambling.
Soiling. I put that in a T3. T4 if it was poo. Unless you ate something weird. Then it wasn't the ghost. Kind of hard to suss that out after the fact.
I didn't soil myself. He didn't call me shopping saying, oh my god, my pants are toast.
Do you have to keep a sample?
13 minutes of fucking Ned Fulmer, the boyfriend.
He got netted out of the theatrical.
You didn't tell me about a book that you wrote, and now everyone's saying
I'm a little shoe boy.
Okay, well, first of all, that's wrong.
I'm a little shoe boy.
Ned Fulmer is no longer working with the Try Guys.
I'm a little shoe boy.
Shoe boy.
Shoe boy.
No longer working with the Try Guys.
No longer working with the Try Guys.
You see it in here and you know why it was cut out, and it's also astonishing because you're like, they edited something out of this movie. They thought that they should edit something, and I really didn't believe they edited anything.
Phil. Hi. Phil. Oh yeah, he's looking at that chart. I couldn't figure that out either. Call me when you figure that out. Found a couple cats in the wall. Really stunk in there. Glad I'm getting out.
You could edit him completely out of the movie, and they did. There was no reason for that character to be there, and it makes her worse.
Kristen
too.
Wiig kind of gets horny for their secretary Thor, like immediately, while she still hasn't really broken up with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
So that's a little weirder in the extended cut.
Maybe she kind of wrote him off because he was a dick in
I
the
guess
hallway, but
you
we
could
didn't even notice
probably
he was
end
there.
it though. If you're like, okay, I'm done with that guy, maybe I should answer his call and say we're done.
Answer the call.
How do you just completely ignore my calls?
Someone else.
Yeah, she should have broken up with him, but also we didn't even notice the moment where he was an asshole to her when she got fired.
No! One of the extended scenes, you just see her teaching no one in the theatrical cut after the logo.
Did you hear the news?
Tell me.
Ned Fulmer is no longer working with the Try Guys.
Darling, that's wonderful.
I thought there was one funny line though, but again, like everything in this movie, it goes too long where she's talking to this one woman, she's like, oh yeah, superstitions, those are silly, and she's like, actually, I think superstitions are very real and you should believe in them. She's like, oh yeah, of course, and then she, keeps contradicting everything she says. She's like, oh, of course, everything I say is wrong.
Fingers crossed. Not that crossing your fingers means anything.
Oh, I couldn't disagree more.
Exactly. I'm wrong about everything.
That scene is meant to establish, A, that she's not very well respected there, and B, that her boyfriend's kind of a dick, which sets up why they break up later, but it's still not a very good payoff to it, which is why losing those scenes didn't really change anything.
There's a lot of scenes in the movie they should have cut, though.
Oh, yeah.
When they redo things. When they have Kristen Wiig's character get kicked out of the university, which is a direct reference to the original Ghostbusters when they get kicked out of the university. But then they're like, what if we do it again? again with Melissa McCarthy right after that.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same scene, except a funnier guy where he says suck it a bunch and flips them off.
I have 2 words for you.
He's gonna say suck it. He's not gonna say suck it.
Suck it.
That was another one where it's very clear that he did multiple takes for them to choose from, and they chose all of them.
Yeah.
And you could have done one of them, and it still wouldn't have been that funny, but they decided they needed all of them, so they would cut back and forth. And there's a lot of scenes like that in this movie where it felt like they were doing options for them. It wasn't meant to be the entire scene, but instead you just get repetitious, do the same joke with slight variations over and over again.
I think it might be a ghost. Oh, no, it's not. It's just a bird. Bye. Later days. Can you hear this? Let me turn it up.
This is incredibly immature behavior.
Caught it.
It's weird too, because this movie at times feels like it doesn't really like Ghostbusters the way it comes off, yet it keeps referencing it, which is strange. And they do double references like the university kick out. They do a double reference of Stay Puft where the balloon Stay Puft is completely superfluous. You don't need that there, but they're like, we need to put Stay Puft in here somewhere, so we're gonna do it anyway, despite the fact our main villain is going to do the Stay Puft thing.
They were like, we have to have Stay Puft because it's such an iconic thing. How do we do it? And I was wondering too in the lead up to that scene, I was like, why are these ghost balloons? I mean, I guess in the Ghostbusters universe, you gotta kind of wonder why ghosts become these creature things anyway when they're dead people. But in that scene in particular, it's not like they become different objects and stuff. It was kind of unusual. And then you realize it's just so that they could bring in a balloon Stay Puft so they could be like, it's different this time.
Yeah, he's a balloon.
And it's nonsense too. Like they disintegrate him, and yet there's pieces of him still left on the ground. None of the other balloons had pieces left. Why are there ghost
just
balloon
the CG
pieces?
parts disintegrate them. The practical things are left behind. It's weird too watching this movie off the Blu-ray because you see all the effects that they have go off the border of the screen, which is I guess for like the 3D. But it's just strange watching it now. You just see all these effects go past the border.
It looks odd. I've never seen a movie do that. And it has to be just for the 3D effects because it's not all of the CG. It's just certain parts of it.
And it's weird when they go in that ghost portal at the very end because the movie just becomes something that fits the whole 69 frame at that point.
Zack Snyder Justice League movie or whatever in that weird frame. I think they had a weird frame for that.
That reference is lost on me.
Okay.
I don't understand that reference.
You know what reference we got? The post movie tag where they're like, who's Zool?
I heard something really weird. What's Zool?
And it was basically the Mario movie. Like, Mario, Luigi, you're not gonna believe this.
Well, I believe.
Luigi, Mario, you gotta come with me. I need your help.
What's wrong?
You're never gonna believe this.
I believe.
We're not getting a sequel.
Cancelled.
I heard something really weird. What's Zool?
What if the dinosaur ghosts found a way to our dimension?
Dun, dun, dun. Answer the call too.
What if the dinosaurs weren't all destroyed? And hey, what if they found a way back?
You pointed out there's one part where they don't answer the call. The machine gets it. And you're like, they're all there too.
Kristen Wiig's trying to warn them, and it's like, you should answer the call. That's why it was called Answer the Call.
Exactly.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
Who are you gonna call? Someone else.
The one thing you were supposed to do, answer the call. You didn't do it.
You dummies. They pulled a real Kevin on that one, huh?
Yeah. Another reference, too, is basically just to be a reference is when they're picking their headquarters, they go to the firehouse for 2 seconds.
Stripper pole!
Hey, does this pole still work?
Also, things like Ernie Hudson showing up at the very end of this movie to be like, hey, where's my other hearse? I'm your uncle, Leslie Jones.
He showed up and he went, I'm your uncle.
He might as well. She references her uncle and they get the original Ecto hearse from him.
You didn't disclose that the vehicle was going to be a hearse.
I'm sorry, my uncle owns a funeral home.
But they turned it into the Ectomobile and they've used it for a long time. And then he shows up at the end of this movie like, I need my other hearse.
Maybe he wasn't clear on he needed it back because
I need that hearse back. Do 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 do.
Let's cut the bottom out of the basket.
But I need these baskets back.
I got 4 funerals this weekend. I can't do them with just one hearse.
If anything, this movie is too clean because they took away Slimer's ass. I feel like that is, release the butthole cut because the Slimer ass erasure, I don't know about that. That's too woke for me.
Yeah, too woke. Just like with Girl Slimer.
Girl Slimer? It was like they put Girl Slimer in to take the piss out of the people who were like, Girl Ghostbusters, ew. And they're like, oh yeah? Well, you'll hate this. This is the future that the left wants.
They should have had female Stay Puft in there too.
She's got big tits. I mean, they did the tits
They did that
logo,
joke,
you know.
yeah.
So I mean, really, they were
With
were
my-
ahead of what we were thinking.
The stupid secretary, it annoys me so much. The Thor secretary.
I thought he was funny.
Now, are you seeing anyone right now?
Just forget she even asked, because if she did, that would be illegal.
Forgotten.
Good.
No, I've forgotten. I don't know what you asked.
There we go.
They hung up?
I was just not into that conversation.
Kevin!
But he was kind of an asshole.
It just,
like
he's an asshole in the end.
When we were risking our lives trying to save New York City, you stopped in to get a sandwich?
Quit splitting hairs, okay?
Every joke is he's so stupid, he's too stupid to live. He should be fearsome flush for how much he adds to anything.
Kevin, hi, can you answer the phone, please?
I can't. It's in the fish tank.
No, the one on the desk that's ringing. That one.
Oh, that one. What's this place called again?
Conductors of the Metaphysical Examination.
Conductors of metamucils and stuff.
There was one scene with him at the end where he's eating a sandwich and Melissa McCarthy gets annoyed and tosses it away and he goes, hey, a little help, and then someone tosses it back, which is kind of funny, except in the extended cut they decided they were just gonna keep going and do like 3 or 4 different things, and then you realize it was another joke that should have been kept edited. I thought he was funny, but I do think it was pretty obvious he was featured so prominently because Chris Hemsworth is such an A-list star, was clearly like the biggest name in the cast.
Because he gets possessed by the main ghost, and then it just becomes he's the villain. You kind of forget who the guy was playing the main villain in the first place.
Oh yeah, you think that guy was just like, hey, you know, I get written out of this movie and become Chris Hemsworth. I don't get to play like the end part of this. I die and then it's this.
I am rewarded with nothing but scorn and mockery.
There were some interesting things to what that guy is doing, but his motivations kind of get thrown out the window. Because he just kind of mutters them and then he dies.
Yeah, I feel like I must have missed what his motivation was when I first watched this. And then we watched this again now and I was like, wait, what? So why did he do it? And we rewound. And I guess it was just he didn't like people and he was mad. So he
they were mean to him. He could see ghosts, I guess.
I don't know if he could see. He said
I could see things other people couldn't.
I guess.
I see things that no one else does.
I'm thinking there's supposed to be a parallel between him and Kristen Wiig's character.
So, how did y'all get into ghosts? Did one of you see one?
Yeah, I did. When I was 8 years old, and I told my parents, they didn't believe me. The kids at school found out, and they would laugh at me.
But I feel like they just kind of got rid of it somewhere along the line.
It got muddled, which is weird because that was one of the few sincere moments of the movie when she's describing her first time seeing a ghost and why she was so sensitive about this. It was grounding it in something. But so much of this movie is not like that. And that character, the villain, it's such a weak motivation that you miss it.
You have been bullied your entire life. Now you will be the bully.
And it's a big deal because he becomes a scarerist.
Yeah.
He's summoning ghosts to break the barrier between the worlds and basically beat up all the people that were mean to him.
That's one of the things I thought was really interesting. He's weaponizing ghosts, sort of.
He turns them into the Spirit Halloween little window things.
That was silly. He's like, oh, wow, look, I rated a Spirit Halloween. But I did think that was an interesting idea. I just wish they made the villain more interesting. Just
he's not
muttering his motivation and then dying. Not much of anything.
I get it. You don't like people.
Well, that's over.
Who you gonna call when you feel
Someone else.
Then he becomes Chris Hemsworth and he gets to do more. And I think one of the things that the extended cut actually fixed as far as being confusing was that in the theatrical cut, when he controls a crowd of people and he starts making them in different
they just kind of do like a couple poses
and then they find them
freeze.
later. And then in the credits, you see it was a whole dance sequence that they cut. And you're like, okay, so clearly they just cut it. But they, again, didn't want to cut something, so they put it in the end credits. But you knew that they cut it, so it was just weird doing it like that. They put the dance scene back in, although I still think it's kind of truncated because you still see more dancing in the credits, but it's a little less jarring.
I would like to see you dance. Hello.
The way they edited it was a little weird in the theatrical version because they just had him pose them because they had to explain why they were doing like the staying alive poses and stuff when they showed up. So he just posed them and then went, anyway, bye.
There's something too, I felt if the movie had any more sincerity to it and let anything kind of be creepy. When you see them all frozen behind them during the confrontation with Rowan in the lobby, that could have been something. Because it is kind of creepy. You see everyone just frozen behind them with the lights going behind them. But it's just... doesn't really amount to much of anything because everything has to be a joke in this movie.
I think this was something that was cut too. The joke where he's like, I see there's 5 of you now, and then the guy from The Office.
Oh, I see there's 5 of you now.
Who are you?
I just came down to get some ice.
Was he also named Kevin?
He was Kevin in The Office.
Kevin meets Kevin from The Office, and then he drops his chili and leaves the scene.
Remember the chili?
Remember the chili scene? Remember that?
Get out of here!
Are you kidding me?
Everything that they do that's just doing the first Ghostbusters is like, remember this, but to be fair...
They do the crossing the streams, they do it really poorly, and then they set it up again to do the exact same thing, like, what do we do to solve this problem? We cross the streams into the portal.
I forgot to tell you, don't let your beam get entangled with my beam. Why? It would cause a counter reaction. The beam would shoot back into your body and each atom will implode. What?
There's something very important I forgot to tell you. Don't cross the streams.
Why?
It would be bad.
I'm fuzzy on the whole good-bad thing.
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
We gotta shoot directly in the portal with more power. If we can do that, we might be able to cause a reverse reaction.
We gotta cross the streams.
The door swings both ways. We could reverse the particle flow through the gate.
How?
We'll cross the streams.
I mean, that thing you were talking about that's so powerful that will make all of our atoms implode?
Implode is the wrong word. It would be more violent than that.
You said crossing the streams was bad.
There's definitely a very slim chance we'll survive.
Total protonic reversal.
Total protonic reversal.
But to be fair, it's lame when the other Ghostbusters movies do remember that also.
Yeah,
remember that
I'm not excusing them.
It's just like the audience is supposed to go like, I got it! I got the scene!
No, there is an issue with the ones I liked more. They don't need to be so referencey all the time.
Yeah.
This one does it too, despite not liking Ghostbusters.
You're already doing another Ghostbusters, and people like Ghostbusters, so just do another story with the Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
Hi, excuse me.
Hold on. What do you want?
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
You can do things that are like a flavor that you enjoy without just doing the same thing again. We've seen Stay Puffed or Stay Puffed adjacents through all of these movies, and we don't need to have Stay Puffed all the time. We don't need to have the same thing because we saw that movie.
Yeah.
Some of the parts that worked in the 2016 movie were not doing the first Ghostbusters again. They had all the elements to do a story that was about people busting ghosts without just doing the first movie.
I thought Kristen Wiig's character at parts is interesting, except when she's just horny for the secretary. It's like, just stop.
She was one of the more grounded ones. I thought she was...
I think that's why she works.
Bearable, yeah. I liked the scenes with Leslie Jones, her character's name's Patty, confronting the ghost because, again, she understood the comic timing of it. Like the scene with the mannequins, and she's like, oh, this room full of nightmares, I'm not doing that. And then it starts chasing her, so it's like, it's kind of funny, but kind of scary at the same time. Same as when she first meets a ghost, she's not eating Pringles.
Though I thought it was silly that she chases Rowan onto the train tracks at all. Like, I'm not getting paid to chase someone onto the tracks. She's manning the ticket booth. Like, shouldn't she call someone? Shouldn't someone else answer the call there?
Answer the call. Who are you gonna call?
Someone else.
Sometimes shit happens, someone has to deal with it, And who are you gonna call?
Someone else.
There's the scene where Melissa McCarthy gets possessed by Rowan, and she comes in and attacks Kate McKinnon's character, and then Leslie Jones is trying to save her from falling out a window, and then she...
the Bill Murray memorial window.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. She's doing fucking Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon wire work through this room. And then Leslie Jones smacks her and suddenly she has superhuman strength.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what happened here? And then later, when he possesses Kevin, he's like, I should have worked out more when I was alive because he's so strong. And it's like, you already have superhuman strength.
It
Unless
clearly
Melissa
didn't
McCarthy
matter.
could already do all this shit.
Maybe she is super powered and we just didn't realize.
I'm a little confused by that whole thing.
I should have worked out more when I was alive.
Maybe you can kind of project onto it that maybe he liked being him because he was everything he wanted to be when he was alive. This big, strong, handsome guy. But then he just tries to kill him and moves on, so he doesn't seem to really care by the end.
The part where Melissa McCarthy briefly gets possessed too felt a little weird because it tries to play it a bit serious, but at that point, none of the movie has really been trying for that tone, and it also feels like
a little scary, I guess.
I mean, I'm glad they tried, but it just feels like ill-placed by this point. I wish, the movie had more scenes like this, but it's also
slime coming out of her nose.
She runs to a door and closes it. This is well after she's been busting ghosts for a bit. She thinks a door is gonna stop. She shut the door.
She locked the door.
Then he becomes the logo ghost.
He becomes the logo
Would you like to
ghost.
remember that? Remember
There's the logo ghost.
And then they did the spray paint. Remember the logo.
Remember that.
What form would you prefer I take?
Choose the form of the destructor.
And he does Stay Puffed, and honestly, they don't act as terrified, even though Stay Puffed was inherently silly, but it still worked because the Ghostbusters were scared when Stay Puffed was crushing New
That was
York.
what was funny about it. It was terrifying, but it was also a big marshmallow.
Yeah, you had that kind of juxtaposition about the fact that this giant logo from a marshmallow company is destroying the city.
I think it's just become so iconic with the series, you forget what was funny about it in the first place.
What the hell is that?
Is that a cloud?
Terrified beyond the capacity for rational thought.
I did kind of enjoy they mixed the traditional animation into the movie with the logo, but it was for kind of a pointless reference. So it was like, that's kind of neat, I guess. And then, but I wish it was more
It's
of a
like
thing,
turning
like
the
it would
logo
make one.
ghost into a thing. It could have worked, but they just do Stay Puffed with it, and it doesn't feel like it matters to them like so much of this movie. Then they somehow turn the portal in the middle of the street into a ghost trap, which sucks everything in and somehow repairs the city too.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why the city repairs itself. That's very confusing. Another plot important Slimer, I guess. He was driving the car the whole time. That whole scene was a setup for trailer shots where you're like, isn't this badass? When like Kate McKinnon licks her gun or whatever. It looked cool in the trailer, it did, but I wish it was connected to a movie that was equally as cool, but it really isn't. It comes off try-hard because it's in the middle of...
character before this?
Yeah, because it was in the middle of all this stupid shit. That's what made it feel so try-hard, because it was unearned. And these characters, they're all real assholes. They murdered Bill Murray's character. They straight up just got him killed, and that's not how they try to get them shut down. Like, the mayor had a gimme here.
Yeah, they want to shut the Ghostbusters down. The mayor wants to shut them down, and they have a death they could easily use.
They never come back to how they didn't get charged for this death.
No, they get Bill Murray's character killed just because he comes in and acts mean at them. It's like, I don't believe in ghosts.
You want to see it?
I would love to see it.
Casper?
Fatality. Who are you gonna call? Someone else.
What did you think was gonna happen?
He should have pulled a Walter Peck and tried to open it himself, and so they're not culpable for this, but he is kind of an asshole, and you still get the funny, like, oh, Bill Murray got killed, and they say he's not Ghostbusters material, or whatever.
Hey, that man went out the wrong door.
He wasn't really Ghostbusters material.
Oh, cut it out.
That could be funny, but you're sitting there thinking, like, so they just murdered a man through the rest of the movie.
Then they just go and do a ramble out on the street about Patrick Swayze or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
They don't care.
They do that so that they could get called into the mayor's office, and then that'll lead into the mayor from Jaws references, and then...
Yeah. Also, Ghostbusters 2 reference with them running in being crazy at the restaurant.
Please don't be like the mayor in Jaws.
And never compare me to the Jaws mayor. Never!
Then they also do the Dickless reference where they just go on about Ken dolls forever.
Yeah, what is the least funny version of these scenes you could do? And that's what they do.
Everything was fine with our system until the power grid was shut off by Dickless here.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
I'm watching you!
You think they got genitals in there, or is it more of a Ken doll situation?
Ken doll situation. It's smooth.
Oh, cut it out!
Man, it's really a shame, because there's bits and pieces that are funny and could be something. I did enjoy it a lot less.
If it just tried so much more.
It just needed to be
I wish it was a thing. There's pieces you can see it working. Improv-a-rama crap.
Yeah, they didn't edit it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, did you want to?
Sorry, I'll let you.
Next time.
And the problems with it were none of the problems that got focused on. It all got kind of buried because of people that were just mad at women.
You must have been afforded the basic dignity and respect of a human being.
Not really. People dump on us pretty much all the time.
And I think they were mad in general about there being a remake of Ghostbusters. I think they would have been mad if it were men and it was a remake too, but it was just compounded with misogyny.
Well, the fact
so
it's a reboot.
Yeah, so it just gets compounded with all these things when there's legitimate things to criticize it for.
Hey guys, I've been meaning to ask, what was that thing that threw that man out the window the other day?
Kevin, it was a ghost.
A ghost.
Do you not know what goes on here, Kevin?
I'm gonna take off though. I'm in a hide and seek tournament, and we are in the semis.
I guess it was better in the theater. I had a good time in the theater. Maybe the theatrical experience did elevate it, but it might also be because we've seen the other sequels now, and they were better. There's problems, but they were much better than this.
Who's the flying beefcake?
It needed a Slimer ass.
Need more Slimer ass.
Focus on his ass. Yeah, Slimer ass. We'll do the review through his ass. We didn't get this in the theater when we saw Answer the Call.
No, I think all I got was 3D glasses.
I didn't see it in 3D, so I didn't even get that.
It's a shame what happened with this movie, but it's not as big a deal anymore, I guess, because we got more Ghostbusters movies afterwards.
Yeah, I wish this was enjoyable in spite of everything, you know, because you could say, like, it's not a good sequel, but maybe if you pretend it's not a Ghostbusters movie, just a horror comedy, would it be enjoyable that way? And I don't think so, because everyone's just too mean-spirited.
Ghosts! They're real!
Lord have mercy.
It's because of stuff like this that makes it impossible for us to do our real work.
They don't have enough sincerity in it for you to believe in the story.
No.
Protect the barrier! Protect the barrier! Or mankind will end!
For us to do our real work.
But they tried. They had talented people involved.
It's more of a farce than the cartoon was, at least while the cartoon was good pre-Q5 stuff. Like, they still made it feel like they lived in a real world where ghosts happened to exist as well.
Then they became a bunch of fluffernutters.
Yeah, then it kind of went into farce world once it became stupid
This was Dave Coulier era of real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, post Q5 stuff, it became a joke.
And here we are, a bunch of fluffernutters.
I was testing a new proton ray on Slimer, and it apparently imbued you with some sort of physical powers.
Good morning.
Who's the flying beefcake?
And seems to be like the inspiration for the tone of this movie was like, yeah, it's all stupid.
Winston was the driver.
It's
That's
a giant
direct reference to that.
Yeah, he was the driver. He's the one with the cars, wasn't he?
The guy who got netted it out, he had the last name Hudson, according to the credits, so pretty cool.
Wow.
Even his last name got cut out of this movie. Ernie Hudson deserves better. But I guess he got, good roles in the other two movies.
They gave him better stuff.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just going to say it. He also had better hair. Anyway, is there anything else we want to talk about?
Dan Aykroyd drove a cab and said, who are you going to call? Someone else.
Those are actual ghosts flying around.
The class 5 floating vapors. Nothing to worry about. Look, I don't go to Chinatown. I don't drive Wackos, and I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Who are you gonna call?
Someone else.
I didn't like the short cropped hair.
Mm.
But Ernie Hudson's cool anyway. Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson. Pretty cool. That's his character name, Ernie Hudson.